Our gospel reading today comes from the gospel according to Mark, chapter 13, verses 24 to 37. If you'd like to read along, you can find it on page 50 of the New Testament section of your Red Pew Bible. Mark 13, beginning with verse 24. But in those days, after that suffering, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will be falling from heaven, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in clouds with great power and glory. Then he will send out the angels and gather his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven. Now from the fig tree, learn its lesson. As soon as its branch becomes tender and puts forth its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also, when you see these things taking place, you know that he is near, at the very gates. Truly, I tell you, this generation will not pass away till all these things have taken place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But about that day or hour, no one knows, neither the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Beware, keep alert, for you do not know when the time will come. It is like a man going on a journey, when he leaves home and puts his slaves in charge, each with his work, and commands the doorkeeper to be on the watch. Therefore keep awake, for you do not know when the master of the house will come, in the evening, or at midnight, or at the cock crow, or at dawn, or else he may find you asleep when he comes suddenly. And what I say to you, I say to all, keep awake. God, give us ears to hear and eyes to see and hearts that are open to receive and respond to your word, your message to us this day and this Advent season. Amen. Advent is upon us. It's a season of expectation and preparation. Decorations and lights are going up, and many will be hosting parties in the weeks ahead. Hopefully, we're taking time to prepare our hearts. Worship helps to prepare our hearts. Charlie Brown helps us to prepare our hearts against the consumerism or the commercialism of Christmas. We're reminded about the true meaning of Christmas. And hopefully, we're taking time to prepare our homes for the holidays. Now let me ask, have you ever had to scramble the last few minutes before guests arrive to get everything ready? I didn't think so. It's never happened to any of you. That's good. That's why the holidays are stress-free, right? You never have to worry about that. Recently, my family watched the movie Christmas with the Cranks. Anyone seen this movie? Right? It's become a tradition for us. It's actually based on a book written by John Grisham. I highly recommend both. Now, I'm not going to give away the whole movie, but most of it. So, since it was going to be the first holiday season, or the first Christmas, without their daughter, Blair, who was on assignment with the Peace Corps, the Cranks decided to skip Christmas completely. No lights, no presents, no Christmas tree, no cards, no annual Christmas Eve party at their home. But then, and let's just say, it didn't make everyone happy, right? Everyone who gets really excited for the holidays, and they've been doing this for all these years, it sort of left a bad taste. But they didn't care, right? They didn't care. It was just about them and what they wanted to do. But then on Christmas Eve, as they're preparing to fly out the next day, on Christmas Day, for a cruise, a Caribbean cruise, they get a phone call from their daughter from the airport saying she's coming home for Christmas and bringing her fiancé, which was also news to them. and she was so excited to see the house all decorated and to introduce her fiancé to all the neighbors at the Cranks' annual Christmas Eve holiday party. The Cranks are completely unprepared for this arrival. Now, their friends, their neighbors, give them hope. Because as poorly as they were being treated, they stepped up and said, we're going to do this together. There was hope that they could actually pull this off in like 4 hours. The whole community rallies together hours before, and they pull off a truly festive and spirit-filled Christmas party, and Blair, the daughter, had no idea what was happening. They were not prepared for their daughter to come back. Her arrival startled them. But ultimately, it helped kind of shake off their apathy and come to their senses. The text for Advent this Sunday is an admonishment to remain alert and awake and prepared for Christ's return. Now, Luther Crank was so focused on himself and his upcoming cruise that he was planning, instead of celebrating Christmas, that he failed to see other people. He failed to see the needs and the hopes of those around him, including his own family. He sort of fell asleep. He was sort of sleepwalking through the Christmas season, and it had implications, had a negative effect on everyone in his life. So the question that our text today asks us is, are we awake? Are we awake to those around us, to our family, our parents, our children? I mean, really awake and attuned and attentive to them. Are we awake to the needs of those around us? Are we also awake to the blessings before us? I mean, the blessings right before us, right there. Are we awake to the signs of God's kingdom all around us? See, I think when we put too much focus on waiting for something else, waiting for that time to come, whatever that might be, here's what can happen. We can fail to be fully present in the moment, here and now. We can fail to be awake and alert and even alive with those who we love the most and who love us the most. We can sort of sleepwalk through our relationships, and then you look back and you think, where did the time go? When we put too much focus on waiting, we can fail to experience the gift that Jesus gives, and that is to experience life abundantly, here and now, and yes, in preparation for that time, for everlasting life. But let's not skip past this life, the gift of this very day. When we're waiting for a particular milestone, or we're waiting for when our children become older, because yes, the younger years can be tough, but they'll never be as young as they are now. You'll never have these moments back. When we're waiting for when we can finally retire, or when we can finally take that cruise, or when we're waiting for the end times to come, and we fail to see the signs of God's kingdom and God's presence with us right now, right before us. We can be so focused on waiting for Christ to come back in power and glory that we fail to see the invisible Christ in those around us, especially the hungry, the lonely, the sick, the homeless, the hopeless, those who are in need of gifts this holiday season. As we looked at a couple weeks ago, Christ is there with them, in them. Jesus says, how you treat the least of me is how you treated me. For our King has come, born as a babe in Bethlehem, to show us the way, to usher in God's kingdom, to live life abundantly here and now. Sometimes, if we wait for something else to happen or someone else to do something, we lose sight of our own responsibilities to become ambassadors of God's hope, to become an extension of God's care and compassion, God's light and God's love, to be the hands and the feet and the heart of Jesus. But the good news, and this is what we celebrate this year, every year, the season of Advent, the good news is that hope has come. Hope is here and now. Hope came down from heaven in the form of an infant who grew up, who lived, taught, suffered, died, and was raised to life so that we may have life and have it abundantly. What the prophet Isaiah was looking forward to did arrive, that the people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned. And this light leads us to live alert and awake in the fullness of God's presence and God's power each and every day of our lives, seeing signs of God's kingdom all around us. I do believe that the world is saturated with the presence of God. Just like this fog is saturating everything, God's presence is all around us. We have to have eyes to see, and ears to hear, and hearts that are open to see and experience God's arrival each and every day. God's arrival in all of our conversations, in all of our interactions, our encounters, in how we treat other people. We are experiencing the life of God in our midst. So the kingdom has arrived, and we are living in it now. Just a moment, we'll experience communion. Communion is a foretaste of what is to come. It's like an appetizer to that delicious seafood dinner, lobster for four. But here's what it does. It is a taste. Because we are, Christians and our Jewish family, we are all still waiting and anticipating for the day where everything is reconciled. Everything and everyone is restored and redeemed. We know that we are not living in that yet, right? We know that. We all know that. So we are still waiting for that day. We're waiting for that day. But these lyrics, O come, Emmanuel, which we sang. O come, desire of nations, bind all peoples in one heart and mind. Bid every strife and quarrels cease, and fill the whole world with heaven's peace. So rejoice. Rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. We're looking forward to that day. And so we wait. But we do not wait with people without hope. We wait to see an end to war, an end to violence, an end to hatred and bigotry and division. The day that we may all be one, as that beautiful song shares. That God's Messiah, the Christ, will make all things new and all things right. And so, at the start of this new Christian year, on this first Sunday of Advent, we sing those lyrics. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to you, O Israel. And we do rejoice because the Son of God has appeared. Light has entered the darkness. Dawn, a new day, has arrived. Christ is here with us, working with us to usher God's kingdom, making God's kingdom known in many ways, at times in and through unexpected people and places. So yes, friends, we can and should rejoice, but we should also stay awake. Even the angels do not know how many days we have left, but we better be prepared to make the most of each and every day and be prepared to experience God's presence in surprising ways this Advent season. Amen.